Hi, Frank Backer here, and welcome to the Daily Peacemaker. Um, we've been exploring the Kingian principles, steps and principles, and so we're on the fourth principle. Let me read that to you. It's a little convoluted, but it's to accept suffering without retaliation for the sake of the cause to achieve the goal. So, well, let me put some context in it first. Um, we're about creating a culture of peace, which is one in which the inherent worth and dignity of every living creature is honored and respected. And yes, sometimes it's really hard to get across to yourself that so and so is has some inherent worth and value, but that's the starting point. You either believe that or you don't. And if you do, then you try to honor and respect that. And in order to do that, we find it helpful if you have some guidelines. And some of the best guidelines, I believe, are the Kingian steps in nonviolence. So again, we've done the last three sessions. We've did principles 1, 2, and 3, and so now we're on the fourth one, which again is to accept suffering without retaliation for the sake of the cause to achieve the goal. And that's it's like, what does that mean? Um, Maybe a couple of examples. If you go, I suspect most people have heard the phrase "take one for the team," and I think that originated back in not I don't know when, but from baseball, where um, if the pitcher throws a ball and looks like it's going to hit you, you don't try to duck out of the way. You kind of stand there, and it hits you. That's the suffering piece. You don't retaliate by running out to the pitcher or attacking him. You accept that suffering without retaliation. And the reason you do that is, in this case, the goal is to win the game, and the means to do that is to score runs and get on base and score runs. Um, Another example, hockey. You're playing hockey, and someone on the opposing team gives you a dirty cross check, an illegal cross check, or you're in the corner fighting for the puck, and they grab your stick so you can't move, and you've been attacked, you've been unjustly dealt with, and you want to retaliate, but you choose not to. You don't try to get in a fight with the guy or um, swing punches at him. And the reason you don't do that is because you're hoping, and in most cases it does happen, that the other team gets a penalty. Then again, the goal is to win the game, and obviously, if you have one more player on the ice um, to do it, that's the cause is a funny word. The method maybe is a better way to use it. So if you got the other team to take a penalty, then you now have a better team to achieve the goal. So it's a little difficult to understand. Maybe um, like a personal. Let me see if I can come up with something. Let's say you're at a neighborhood gathering, block party. And, people are, talking, having a couple of drinks, eating some hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And then one of your buddies comes up to one of your really good friends in the neighborhood comes up and says, listen, your neighbor from down the street is down in the other part of the party there, and he's with a bunch of other people, and they're really trashing you and your family. And your buddy says, we got to go down and straighten this out and straighten this guy out, because he's a real jerk anyway. And so let's go down and uh, give him a lesson, straighten him out. And you think, when you hear about that, that's wounds you, that someone's saying all these terrible things about you or your family or both. And, it's natural to feel, I'll get back at that son of a gun. I mean, maybe I'll go scratch his car, scratch his car later. But then you think, well, you say to your buddy, well, I don't know that would do any good. Yeah, it's painful. I don't like it. But to go down there and try to retaliate straighten them out, I don't know that would be much good. And your buddy's going, what's the matter? What are you, chicken? So there's another layer that gets dumped on you if you choose not to retaliate. But again, what ideally is going on with you is you're realizing, well, okay, he's doing that, and yeah, I don't like it. But if I go down and with my buddy here and confront him, it's probably going to turn nasty quickly. And we back in one of the podcasts we did, we talked about how quickly violence can boom escalate. So you think about that, and you say, let it go for now. Maybe later I'll talk to him. And you're doing that because, again, the goal is to create this society of nonviolence, this culture of peace, and the cause or the way to do it, the method, is through nonviolence. So this principle, or the fourth principle, again, to suffer, to endure sometimes physical, but mostly emotional suffering because of what somebody else is doing, and to say, okay, and not want to get revenge. I mean, you might want to get revenge, you might have that feeling, but you choose to not do that. And the reason you choose it is because you believe strongly that situation is going to escalate into violence, which is opposed to the goal that you're trying to achieve. So again, to accept suffering without actually retaliating for the goal, which is create this culture of peace. And the way to do that, in this case, is through nonviolence. So, excuse me for a minute. I don't. It's the third and fourth principle to me kind of get meshed together in some way, because it's really about learning how to treat the other person nonviolently. It's not one of the things, especially with this principle and nonviolence in general, is people hear it as passive, and it's not that. It's not passive. Nonviolence is a very active way of living, and it's an active way with dealing with unjust situations on a big level and also on a personal level. And it's part of that is confronting these unjust things or these people that have attacked you, but it's doing nonviolently. And on a personal level, sometimes it's wise to maybe walk away from a situation. It's not coward. You're not being a coward because you've thought it through. Well, if we get into a confrontation here, it's this other person might easily escalate into violence. So there's a lot of wisdom in how you deal with these types of situations, and you learn. As the years go by and you really practice, because nonviolence is a practice that it has a knowledge base, but it's also a skill that you can get better at by practicing it in your everyday life. So I hope that makes some sense. It's again, like said, it's complex in a given situation, just how to address it in a non-violent way. That's the key thing. So, all right, let me leave it there. Some stuff to ponder on. As we go through these, we got a couple of more principles and then the steps, and then after we get through that, there's a couple of pretty good case situations, for lack of better words, that we can talk about. But in the meantime, I hope things go well, and may we walk in harmony. You take care.